recorded.
So, as y'all know, about, oh gosh, what is it? What's the 23rd? About 3 weeks ago, my wife and I came back from our little excursion. We were, for the first time, in Coleman, Alabama. And I'd never been in Alabama before. You know, and it's a nice little town. That nice little town in the South full of friendly people. And I thought about all the other places I've been in the United States. And I've found that it's a very beautiful country. And it's just really nice and exciting to meet different people in different areas. Going through the different states I've been in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, where I grew up, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Delaware, North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, of course, a new one. We did a stopover in Texas once. I've been to Michigan, went to school there for a year, been to Iowa, been to Indiana, been to New Mexico, been to Colorado, been to Arizona, Nevada, and California, and Hawaii. I think that's pretty much it for my travel.
Oh, wow, a lot.
I have been to a lot. Well, I've traveled a lot, and I've met a lot of different people. You know,
More than me.
I always go on about how I love Israel, but I never really talk about how much I love the United States of America. It's a beautiful country. It's a melting pot of diversity. And personally, I've always enjoyed diversity. I've always enjoyed, even now as a rabbi, if you notice, my political opinions are very neutral. You don't know what I think. And that's the way it's going to stay, because I like listening to everybody's opinion. I really do. I like hearing what people have to say. And when you travel around the country and you see different traditions, I don't know if it would be appropriate to call them subcultures, but the way people do different things, the small towns, the large cities, and everything, the suburban in between. And it's such a rich culture, our society, of different ideas. And you think about politics, okay? There's a lot of little different parties, but for the most part, we've got the Democrats, we've got the Republicans. You know what? We need that. We need diversification, because we always need to be challenged on our ideas. That's how we grow. When someone says, you know what? I think I've got a better way. And when there's a better way to do things that makes our lives easier or enriches us somehow, it's important to listen to that. And that's why it's good that we've got different parts of the country with different things going on. Look at our history as the Jewish people, as the Hebrew people. Back in the Talmudic days, you had Beit Shammai, the school of Shammai, and Beit Hillel, the school of Hillel. Hillel was the progressive liberal of his time, and Shammai was the traditional conservative of his time. Now, we've talked about this before, but the reason that Hillel's ideas always take preference, or have always taken preference, or seem to take preference to Shammai's ideas, is because Hillel students, unlike Shammai students, always looked at what Shammai was thinking. They always examined their points of view. And that's how they came a lot to their conclusions. You look at the Talmud, and you will see that very, very rarely, I think less than 5% of the discussions and the arguments and the debates end in agreement. It almost always ends with, let the matter stand unresolved, which is a one way of saying, you do your thing, and I'll do my thing. And it's not that you're wrong or you're right, but we just have different ways of doing things. Even in this synagogue a few weeks ago, we experienced that, right? When I was doing a song and somebody challenged me. And I not only don't mind being challenged, I like being challenged. I like having to discuss, me personally as a rabbi and as a teacher, I like having to explain my position. And I think when I heard the other point of view, I think we all kind of learned something. And it was done in a very respectful manner, and I really appreciate it. Not that we want to spend the whole service with people going on, no, wait a minute, what about this melody? What about that melody? What about this? Okay? Yeah, after a while, every once in a while, it's a good thing. But the point is that it's good to see other ways of doing things. That's how things get done. That's how things get resolved. I'm thinking of a show I watched the other day, and of course it's fiction. In fact, it was science fiction. But the crew was in an emergency. And the captain's like, real quick, he goes, I need a solution. I need a solution right now. And somebody blurts out, somebody goes, no, that's not going to work. Somebody else blurts something, no, that's not going to work. Somebody else says, yes, that's how we'll do it. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, done. And it worked. Now, of course, it's TV, it's scripted. Of course it's going to work out. All right? Life isn't that easy, unfortunately. But the process is. And it's not just about getting things done. When you meet people that are different than you, that have different traditions, different customs, different ways of doing things, and you're open to that, it opens your mind. And it opens your attitude to other people. In Judaism, we say one of our creeds, it's beyond a commandment, it's a creed, honor the stranger. Honor the stranger. This came from a time when people were very xenophobic. I mean, you think people are bad now. Back then, look what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah with Lot. He was giving hospitality to visitors, and the town people wanted to kill them and him and his family. Right? Today, we interpret that as if you're working at a job or a school and there's somebody new, you make friends with them. You introduce them around. You make them feel comfortable. That's what we do. That's how we understand each other, and that's how we create peace. That's what we do on Shabbat. We talk about peace. Shalom Rav, a great peace, right? Shabbat Shalom, a peaceful Shabbat. That's what it is. So let's go around in life, and when we do so, let's open ourselves up to other people. Let's listen. The old axiom, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Let's listen to other people. Let's hear their story. Okay? Let's do what our fathers in Pirkei Avot, the sayings of the fathers, told us to do, which is don't judge someone until you've come from their place. The Native American version, don't judge a person until you've walked in their moccasins. And there it is. Okay.